So, welcome to the Rad Motivation Podcast, where I'm your host, Ravi. This podcast is where I delve into people's emotional stories and how they overcame those hurdles that life threw at them. For this episode of the podcast, I would like to introduce the truly amazing Laura, whom, even though I've never met, has dedicated some of her time to sharing her own unique story and personal story. In my opinion, I believe, Laura, your story will give hope and provide motivation to those in a similar position. You'll be sharing a story from basically a woman's perspective, in my opinion, a topic that's not spoken enough of, and it's a word that probably every woman fears when it comes to wanting children. That's infertility. Thank you for joining me today, Laura. When I was reading your story, I was unsure how to approach it, in the sense that I don't want to delve in too personally, but at the same time, I'm kind of curious at the same how what goes in the mindset of somebody who hears that word, who is aspiring to be a parent. Yeah, and I was just like, and I'm sure your story, loads of people will resonate with, without a shadow of doubt. And here we go. I just want to hear your side of things. So by all means, tell me.
Thank you very much. I suppose. First of all, thanks for listening, whoever is listening. But it's as you said, it's something you don't really think about, particularly when you're younger. That apart from being told at school, oh yeah, don't have sex, you'll get pregnant. Like that's the line that I remember. Maybe not quite that bluntly, but basically that line. So when you come to a situation where it's not working, you're like, well, why? And my situation's maybe slightly different to some. So I've actually been suffering with secondary infertility. So we conceived our first child really easily. About he's 4.5 now. We were trying, but not really trying. It just happened. So we were like, oh, great. Yeah. When we come to have our second, it would just happen again, and it would just be really easy. So when we decided to start trying again, it did happen really easily. Within the same time frame as it did for the first, we got pregnant again. Unfortunately, that led to a miscarriage.
I'm so sorry.
But I was like, oh, it's fine. It took 3 months to get pregnant with our son. It took 3 months to get pregnant. Yes, we miscarried, but it's just going to be another 3 months, and then we'll get pregnant again. 3 years later, we're no further forward. We haven't had any further miscarriages or anything. And it was just, I think for me, it's just that whole, your expectation, that assumption that no one ever talked about. Like, yes, you hear about infertility, and I think primary infertility is much more, people are much more maybe aware of it nowadays, but I think the secondary infertility bit, people aren't aware of. Like, I've spoken to friends, since I'm very open and share my story.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, I didn't even know secondary infertility was a thing. I was like, yeah, just because you get pregnant once really easily, or even not easily, if you get pregnant, it doesn't mean that it's ever going to happen again. And I just felt no one ever said that to me. I clearly remember, like, when our son was born, even in the first days, the first weeks, me and my husband were going, oh yeah, when we have a second, like, we'll do this differently, we'll do this differently. There was never a, oh, if we can have a second, we'd do this differently. It was just it was assumed that it would happen.
Just like that.
Just like that. And it's just, and when that doesn't happen, you're like, but why? And I think particularly for me, there's nothing wrong. I've done tests and everything in it. They're like, oh yeah, no idea why. Like, yeah, it should work. Maybe just wait a little bit longer, and then the right egg will come and it will just work. And I was like, yeah, but how long do you wait? Like, we want to live our lives. We want to continue living. And it very much feels where all the time that you're trying to obtain the unobtainable, it feels like at the moment.
Yeah.
You don't stop life, but you just can't kind of continue as maybe you want. Just simple things like, oh, where are we going to go on holiday next year? Lots of parents at school are saying, oh yeah, have you thought about your summer holidays? You really need to book them because of the cost and everything. And I was like, well, no, because who knows what's going to be happening next summer? I could have a child by then, like, or I could be heavily pregnant, or I may not, and therefore we could go skydiving or whatever. But it's the whole, you can't do anything, plan anything, because you never know what's going to happen. And particularly in, I think, the first year, probably, it was very much of like, oh, I can't put that in the diary because I'll be pregnant, and therefore I'm not going to go and do a running event or something. And then my mindset did change. I think after about the first year, I was like, no, let's just put it in, because you know what, it's not happening. I need to keep living. If I am pregnant and I've booked something in that I can't do, then I'll change it. I'm like, what's the worst going to happen? Okay, I might lose a bit of money, or I may be disappointed that I might not be able to do that, but actually I'll be pregnant, so that will be more positive for us.
Exactly, yeah.
So I feel like I've gone through a massive emotional roller coaster. Every day is an emotional roller coaster. Of course, some parts of the month are more emotional roller coaster than others. So it's just been a bit of a crazy time, and just a really hard time without people fully understanding. And I always say, unless you've gone through it yourself, however supportive you are, however much you listen, read, talk to others, you never truly understand what it's like unless you're a woman going through it, which I think is so hard. And it must be really hard for partners, because yes, they want to be really supportive, but you just can't understand the emotions that just go with it.
Can hear the emotions already, and that's why I was going to say, you kind of touched on it. It's like, what were your thoughts on the emotions when it happened the first time? And then you've already touched it. It seems like it was quite distressing, to say the least, and you just overwhelmed with emotion. Correct me if I'm wrong. Anything more than that?
When what happened the first time?
Sorry, just when you heard about it the first time, and then I think I might have got a little bit incorrect with the information, but the fact is that you had the first child, and then you got told about the secondary infertility, all of these emotions just bubbling up.
Yeah, so I suppose infertility anyway is nothing that you're never told it outright, if that makes sense. So
yeah,
I think if you're is it under 35, then infertility is classed as you've been trying for a year without any success.
Oh wow.
And then if you're over 35, it's 6 months. So it's nothing you're really told. It's just okay, you've been trying for so long, so therefore we class you as in the infertility bracket.
That's horrible.
But because of course it can still happen. And I suppose the bit that I suppose was more of being told was that there was nothing wrong. So I managed to get some tests originally through the doctors on the NHS, and they luckily were free, but of course they're very, very basic. All of those came back absolutely fine. So about a year ago we decided to do a bit more exploration, because I just wanted to know why. Like, I just don't understand. I work in improvement. I'm all about finding out what the cause of the problem is before then trying to resolve it. And I'm like, I don't understand why, so I don't therefore know what we should be doing any differently.
Just sort of left in limbo, sort of thing.
Yeah. We decided to go down the fertility clinic route, did more tests and scans, and they were just like, yeah, there's absolutely no reason why you're not getting pregnant. We don't know. You've had a child already, so we know you can have a child.
Oh, this is...
So yeah, the best thing we can recommend is just going down the IVF route. And I was like, okay, but I don't. Yes, okay, I know that that's a potential solution, but because I don't know what's wrong, I don't know if we really want to just do, let's just do IVF because that might work. It's like, but you don't know the reason why, so you're then saying a solution before looking into the problem. So my work brain clicked in, and I was like, this just doesn't sit properly with me.
Exactly.
So that was the really difficult part. And even I think just going to the fertility clinic kind of just, I suppose it's half admitting it's not working. We've tried, actually we need some help. But then when the help is like, oh yeah, just do IVF, it's like, well, that doesn't, I wanted to go there and have answers, like they're the specialists, and when there's no answers, I was like, well, I didn't need this appointment with you then, because
it's very nonchalant, isn't it? Just like,
there's nothing. But the trouble is, there's just so little research into female health, fertility, that I know that they don't know, but it's like, okay, well, how what else can I do to find out? And they're like, oh yeah, I don't know, it's just one of those things. It's like, yeah, but surely there's some answers. There's things that can be done. But yeah, it's just there's just not all. There's like a long list of like 100 different things. It's like, well, where do you start? Like, how do you even narrow it down to what might be the problem without guessing?
I'm just baffled. There's so nonchalant approach and things, especially in the NHS, where you're supposed to be kind, caring, and all of this sort of thing, and just like, yeah, next, yeah, give you the mere basic information, and that's horrible. It's a horrible place to think of, and obviously it's affected you. But do you mind answering how it's affected your partner? Obviously, he's equally upset.
I don't know. It's an interesting one. So my partner is very positive,
Oh, really?
and so it's sometimes been difficult
Mm,
when I've been really upset, and I suppose because I feel what I feel every month and know that it's then not working. Like, he doesn't go through that, and I think I'm also maybe more realistic potentially, and I look more to the future,
mm,
and get more upset about, okay, well, today's okay that we don't have a second child, but actually, what about in 2 years' time? What about in 5 years' time? Like, what about how will we be
prolongs.
feeling then? Um, so so I would say yes, my partner's definitely been like has got upset at times, but he's very much the type of person being like, it will just happen, like it's just gonna happen kind of thing. It's like, yeah, but like 3 years is a long time. When's the realization of actually it may
Mm,
not happen? And I think he probably is getting to that space, but I feel like I started getting to that space a long time ago. Um,
yeah.
yeah,
But yeah. I mean, positivity is one thing, yes, but truly understanding from a woman's perspective. That's why I have to listen because I haven't got this. I haven't got a Scooby Doo what to expect, but I can hear the pure emotions as I keep on saying, and obviously it's from the very start. It hit home to you that this could be a long, arduous road, and obviously slowly it's he's coming to that realization. This could
yeah.
be. Yeah. Anything further to add to that?
Not in that bit. No, don't think so.
No. So my next thing was like how he's obviously being positive and helping you in that respect, but how else are you supporting one another, or is it just sort of like a just keep positive? Is there any proactive ways that you both are taking, or is he proactively saying doing this? If you don't mind me asking.
No, that's it. So I suppose what probably about after a year, I think it was about 2 years ago.
Hmm.
Because my mindset was like, no, we can't do this, we can't do that, because I'm just going to be pregnant, so therefore there's no point in doing it. I think I just flipped into the, okay, well, I'm not pregnant. Like, what do we want to do? Like, what fun things and everything else. So, yeah, I think one of the first things that we did, because we both like cycling, I was like, let's just go bike packing. So most people would probably think we're completely crazy, but yeah, we've done it quite a few times now, just on our bikes so an overnight, with our, what, he must have been 2 or 3 at the time, son on our bike with our tent, with everything that we needed for a night, and just went off cycling. And we've done that several times. Like, we went over to the Netherlands in the summer
Oh,
and just
nice.
took our bikes, and yeah, just camped and went to a safari park and lots of other things. But it's those kind of things. It's like, actually, let's just do it. Let's just, if we want to go on a big adventures, let's do it. So I've
Yeah.
definitely embraced the let's just do it, let's do things last minute. I've never been a last minute person. I've always been a very organized person, but holidays definitely in the last 2 years have, like, we've booked them sometimes like 2 days beforehand,
Oh,
or
wow.
we've literally just gone. I'm like, where's this come from? But it's been so nice to actually embrace that.
Spontaneous.
Yeah, just do it, be more spontaneous. So yeah, that's been a real positive that's come out of it. And I suppose with all of those things, it's, yes, okay, sometimes when I'm there at the weekend, like doing the thing, I do reflect to myself being like, we're only doing this because I'm not pregnant. but it's also, I try and then quickly flip into the, isn't it great I'm not pregnant, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to do this, or even if we had another child at this point, we wouldn't be able to do this. So it's amazing that we do have these opportunities to do this.
It sounds like a tricky balance, without a shadow of a doubt, and you're doing remarkable. Even though I'm just meeting you first time, it's just balancing career and family life is difficult enough, but balancing those sorts of things is it's like a umbrella term. So work life balance, and then within the life you have to balance this personal life. Sorry, you have to balance this. So it sounds like we've taken sort of a slow but proactive approach. Obviously, I know it's just reality hits you, but at the same time, you have to say, look, it's in the short term, it sets that reset button, puts you in a better frame of mind. Correct me if I'm wrong. If anything I'm saying is incorrect.
Oh no, that's definitely, definitely correct.
Yeah.
It definitely helps in the, in that moment. And that's kind of what I said earlier, and being like, well, today's okay because we can do X, Y, and Z, and isn't it great that actually I can pay 100% attention to my son, particularly when, as a 4-year-old, or when he was a 3-year-old, he's not always, I think he's being a typical 3-year-old or 4-year-old, and I was like, how do you manage with another one? Like, I'm so glad that we've just got the one, so I can do that when I concentrate on today. So it's trying not to be like, okay, well, but what about in 2 years' time? And it's, I suppose it's knowing when, like, if I would even get that, if each day keeps being like, actually, no, it's really good that we've just got one. Am I going to get to that point that goes, actually, no, it's not okay? Or how, basically, it's how then to manage that part.
Yeah, I'm just wondering that. I was thinking how is it keeping motivating? And I was just thinking, okay, is it the fact that you're having that little bit of a reset? You get to spend that time with your 3-year-old and your husband at the same time, and that keeps a little bit of motivation. Saying, look, I can balance this, take this forward. Let's go. Let's crack on. I'm just trying to think your point of view in terms of what's keeping you motivated, keep on going, and all that sort of thing.
I think it's just the internal drive and wanting to have a second. I think it's because there's just something inside me, and I'm assuming in my husband as well, that we want a second, and that's drive to keep going. But I think I feel like that drive has also changed over the last few months, maybe in the because it maybe say it's been all consuming for the last 3 years is potentially a bit of an over exaggeration, but definitely some days and months it kind of does feel it's all consuming. And as I said, we do want to live our life, continue to enjoy, or to really enjoy our life. So we don't want to be in this part all the time, but it's then how to get over that just internal, like, I just really want a second child, that is so hard to move away from, and to know how to be like, okay, yeah, we did really want a second child, but actually it's not happening. Actually, let's look at all the really positive things that we have done and we could do in the future. The positives potentially that will then mean for our son. It's just really, it's really tricky.
It's really tricky, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's also combining again back with that assumption and that just thought of, oh yeah, we'll get married, we'll have 2 children, we'll live, maybe not live happily ever after, but that kind of, that sort of that fairy tale.
Oh
just
yeah, of
because
course.
that's also what you see, or I think if you want it, that's what you think you see everywhere else. And I think I'm definitely also learning and really seeing what we do see rather than actually what we want to see. Because I think, I feel like I always saw, oh yeah, everywhere we went, everyone had 2 children. And no matter where we went, what direction we looked, everyone always had 2 children. So then that's really hard, and being like, well, why? And actually, it's not even why. It's how have you got 2 children? Like, particularly when I see parents with children, of both children under 4, I'm like, I don't understand how that's possible. How has that happened? Which is just a weird way of thinking. So it's kind of trying to move away from that as well.
It's like so close yet so far at the same time. You want that sort of two children happily ever after, but unfortunately, life's thrown its this hurdle in the way, which you're still sort of managing to overcome, taking step by step. Anything else? Have I missed anything else in regards to that? That's a sort of short summary of what I think you're trying to say.
Yeah, I suppose also within it is a control element. So it's really
Yeah.
hard because you're not in control. Like, yes, you can do as many steps as you like. So we have gone down the IVF route, and unfortunately it hasn't worked so far. So it's, yes, people can say, okay, yeah, try this and try this and try this, like take this like herbal medicine or try acupuncture or try that, and you're like, okay, well, I'm trying everything I can try, but at the end of the day, having a child, it is in nobody's control apart from your bodies, and you can't
Of course.
do anything. And I think when that's then partnered with someone like me who believes that if you want something enough in life, then yeah, it might be really hard work, but you can achieve it. So then coming into a situation where yeah, you just can't apply that same theory because you can't control what your body does. So that's also definitely a challenge that I've had to try and work through as well.
Can you tell me, because obviously you said there's more, some days more, it's harder than others. Obviously, from general conception, it's like everything's same, but that's not the reality of it. Can you tell me more about why is it harder on some days? Oh, what's the reason it's harder on some days or easier on some days? So then people can sort of actually say, actually, you know what, Laura's right. It's not like plain sailing, Karen.
No, it's not. So I suppose that, to be honest, it just ties in with the menstrual cycle. So of course you've got, yeah, I suppose say the day that your period begins, then you've got oh, okay, well that didn't happen, like it hasn't worked last month. So then you've got the waiting, that in that those roughly 2 weeks, depending when you ovulate, those 2 weeks of waiting, being like, okay, yeah, I'm really upset that last month hasn't happened. And then you can move into the, oh, okay, yeah, we've got new hope for, yeah, we're ovulating again in however many days. And then again, it will depend on the individual. So for me, I feel very pregnant literally as soon as we ovulate if we've tried. So I get those feelings, those sensations of something happening within my body, which can last anywhere between 3 days after ovulation, sometimes up to like day 13, so basically like the whole 2-week wait window. So of course then for me, in that 2-week wait window between ovulation and the next period, I start getting hopeful that, oh, actually, oh yeah, I am feeling funny, and yeah, I'm getting really tired, and yeah, I can't maybe go as long as cycle ride and all of those things. And then sometimes, all the time, those feelings start fading. So then on those days, I'm like, oh, am I still feeling the same? Am I not? So my brain is just it's not at work or whatever I'm doing. It's what's my body doing? Is it doing the right thing? Is it not doing the right thing? I'm not sure it's doing the right thing. Oh no, those feelings are going to fade again. We're going to go back to day one again. And then of course, the day that actually those feelings do completely disappear, that's like, okay, yeah, that hasn't worked. Why has my body built that hope up for me that something was happening, but it's obviously not right. It's decided not to work this time. And then of course, depending when that happens in that 2-week wait window, is then it's kind of oh, now I just need to wait for my period. When's my period going to come? And all of that part. So it is an emotional roller coaster every single month, wherever you are in your menstrual cycle. There's always something going on in your brain around, yeah, what are you waiting for? Are you waiting to ovulate, to have a bit of more hope? Are you waiting for your period to begin? Whatever it is, it just feels like a never a good place to be in, partly because I think the longer that we've gone on, even like just before ovulation, yes, previously it probably would have been a period of hope and being like, okay, yeah, like I feel really good, I feel really fit and healthy, this is definitely going to be the month, yeah, timing's right, yeah, we can definitely try on the right day and everything else. But I think, yeah, the longer it's gone on, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm about to ovulate again, yeah, we'll try, but kind of what's the point? Like, it's obviously not going to work. It hasn't worked for the last 3 years. Why is it going to work this time?
It really grates at you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does indeed. So yeah, that hope definitely fades. And even when I've then, in the last year or two, when I have been feeling pregnant every month, again, I don't have that hope. It's more an annoyance and frustration and kind of upsetting that I'm feeling those feelings, because it stops me doing things, because it's getting that balance between, I feel a bit rubbish, so I don't really want to go out for a bike ride, for example.
Yeah.
But then on the other side, I don't want to go for a bike ride because if I am pregnant, then it's probably not good for me to go and cycle 40 miles or whatever. So then I don't go for that reason. So it's like, well, I'm just then going to sit on the sofa, and then that doesn't make me happy, because actually I need that to go for the bike ride for my mental health. So it's just this awful kind of cycle of I just don't know what to do, but what I want to do doesn't feel the right thing to do. So it's just that, as I said, kind of that emotional roller coaster, and the kind of all those questions that are just constantly going through your head. It's just a bit exhausting, really.
Without a shadow of doubt, really. I mean, I'm just trying to process. Wish I could understand, but I don't, unfortunately, because I'm not in that situation. But it's great to sort of hear your perspective, hear the emotions, and just, I mean, look, so many people are going to resonate and say, yeah, Laura's right. I'm not alone in this situation. I can take it day by day. Yes, they'll have the daily struggles. Yes, we'll have the sort of periods where I'm feeling high, all right, a bit like that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'm guessing you're looking at the bigger picture of things, why you're doing it, even though it's it's a daily challenge. Yeah, it is.
It definitely is. But yeah, as I said, kind of I'm someone who looks more at that bigger picture. And that's the difficulty. Sometimes I wish that I wasn't a big picture person and I just very much did everything for today. I was like, but I can't get away from not having that bigger picture. And and particularly because we've already got a son, it's just really tricky bringing kind of everything everything together.
You said about seeing couples and everyone having 2 children. I might go at the wrong end of the stick. Is it because you're sort of missing out on that second child? Everyone's sort of in the same boat that you wish you were part of.
No, I don't think that I feel like I'm missing out.
Yeah.
I think it's just one of those things that if you want something, then you see it everywhere. Like, again, it's not even just the 2 children. It's definitely, I remember when we were trying, even though briefly for our first, and it happens again now, as soon as you want a child, everyone is pregnant, for example, all the time. Like, actually, I think I remember at first when I started driving and was a learner, all of a sudden there were learners everywhere. I was like, how is there learner drivers everywhere? It's like, actually, no, I just wasn't really seeing it, because it wasn't on my conscience. But because I'm consciously thinking about it all the time, like now I'm seeing everyone is pregnant, or everyone's got 2 children, or more than 2 children. So it's trying to switch your brain to be like, no, see what's actually there rather than what you want to see.
It's a strange thing. Everyone just hyper focuses on the thing they want most, whether it's relationship. I want a relationship. I want kids.
Yeah, whatever it is.
It is a very strange thing, and it's a very tricky thing, especially if this goes back to you want something so badly, but it just life isn't straightforward like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was going to ask because I was looking at like statistics and all that sort of thing about or perspectives. That's why I asked what your partner's viewpoint on this was, because infertility obviously affects the woman more, but it can equally affect the man as well. But it's a subsection, and I don't know if many people. Obviously, this isn't a topic that people are aware of as much, but as a separate thing, it's not sort of looking at the male's perspective as well, because they're obviously equally they're affected in the sense that maybe there's something wrong with them as well, because it's like when you think of infertility, it goes to the mindset. It did, in my opinion, it's going to affect the lady more. They must be devastated, mother's point of view, but from a guy's point of view, it must be as well difficult, because they may think, oh, what's gone wrong on my side of view? I'm letting my family, I'm letting my wife down. It's another tricky one, and I don't know what's your viewpoints on that. Obviously, you can only relate with your partner's experience.
Yeah, probably say I don't have much to say on it, but I am
Mm.
really aware that they are massively affected, and I can't. Definitely, I suppose there's been stories that I've read or heard that around kind of even just testing around what's going on. Some doctors don't even bother testing the male side; they just
Oh,
test the
really?
female. I'm like, but the males play a part in this as well. You
Oh,
can't
wow.
not test them. Maybe it's even I've heard it from the secondary infertility perspective. Again, if you've had a child, they're like, oh yeah, the sperm must be fine because you've had a child. It's like, no, like you could have just had like I've been really, really lucky that one time. Like, surely you need to incorporate them as well. Fortunately, my husband was incorporated in our testing, but it's then just not talked about. And I am part of some like fertility support group through Fertility Network, and the majority of them, of course, is females. I don't think I've seen any males on any kind of the chat at the
Mm.
like the chat meetups that we do, but I have definitely seen some, I think, posts and messages. But again, it's primarily females. But then they do have I think just a male group that do chat. Um, but yeah, it's then, as you said, they're just not really considered, even though they play like just yeah, it's not just a female that wants the child.
Definitely.
If it's a partnership, or sometimes of course it's the male that's actually more devastated than the
Mm.
female. But yeah, it's just not really considered. Yes, they may not go through that emotional roller coaster that I've described each month
Yeah.
to the same extent that I do, but they would still go through probably each month being, yeah, when I tell my husband, oh yeah, my period started again, he'll be like, oh, okay, well, it hasn't happened this month. There will still be emotions within that, but yeah, it's not really talked about, and I feel like it's much more acceptable for me as a woman to be talking to friends and
Yeah.
colleagues about it, but I can't imagine many males going, oh
No.
yeah, actually me and my husband, like me and my wife, have been struggling for a long time.
Mm.
Although interestingly, actually, I know that my husband, when like children is brought up into conversation, I know that he is now a lot more open and does say to them, if someone says, oh, are you planning to have a second, or says something around those lines, he does openly say, oh yeah, we've been trying for a while, but it's just not happening.
Have to be in a
um
very safe space to do that sort of thing in.
yeah, but I think he is more open even with people that he, like with work colleagues that he isn't like really, really close with. I think he
Mm.
does say it more, because I think part of it, and definitely part of it for me, is just raising the awareness. As I said, like near the beginning, if someone had just told me that, oh yeah, you may not get pregnant again just because you got pregnant the first time,
Mm.
I feel like I would be slightly more prepared. But if no one says anything like that to you, you just go on your
I'm
assumptions,
saying.
and and again, goes back to what you see in the world is people have multiple children, and it seems really easy. And there's probably that assumption, if you see someone with an only child, it's their choice that they want an only child, not,
Yeah.
oh yeah, they've got an only child because yes, they went through a really long struggle
Yeah.
and it just never worked out for them for whatever reason. Because it goes back to, if you can have one child, then of course you can have more children. So yeah, I think there's a lot of like myths just across the
Oh
world
gosh.
that
Yeah.
would just need busting, because they're just not true.
I know. That sort of leads me on to the next question. Is that on a smaller scale, hospitals, how can we sort of push for this agenda to be addressed more than, because all I could find was like online forums, chats, support groups, just the mere basics, really. I don't know. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure there's a lot more. I've been struggling to think, like, what can we do? Can we have like more education sessions for people just to make them aware across the board? I'm sort of stumped in terms of what I
Yeah,
can
I
think of.
don't. And again, I think it's probably different, the secondary and primary infertility part. I feel like
Yeah.
with the secondary infertility part, probably, to be honest, just some simple conversations,
Mm,
either through the midwives, or probably through the midwives,
of course.
in kind of that whether it's in the lead up once you are pregnant the first time before the baby arrives, or then I think it's about 10 days afterwards, isn't it? You're still with them. Just around, okay, yeah, that whole conversation around, actually you, like, just because you've had the one, it doesn't mean that you can have another. Because I'm sure I remember, I feel like before I left hospital, which was 2 days after giving birth, they give me a leaflet around contraception or talked about contraception. So again, that message is just remember, breastfeeding or having a baby doesn't stop you getting pregnant. So again, it's that whole message of, okay, you've had one child, you need to be really careful that you don't have another child by accident, or when you don't want it. So make sure you go on contraception if that's what you want to do. So that again feels like, yeah, you can have you can have a child really easily. So make sure you stop it if you don't want it to happen, rather than, just because you've had one doesn't mean that the second will be really easy. I think it's again those messages that I feel I learned at school, being like, oh yeah, don't have sex because you'll just end up pregnant, kind of thing. But yeah, apart from that, I don't really know. It's that, I think it's just that education, that information.
Yeah.
I feel like probably there's an awful lot of research that needs to be done. And I know some research is happening, like University of Southampton, University Hospital of Southampton. They're doing a study that I've participated in around implantation.
Oh, that's cool. That's good.
So that felt really positive to actually do something. So there are things happening, but of course I think we probably all know the pace of research is really slow, and there is so much to investigate that they're just like skimming the surface of it. But at least that's a positive direction. I think, to be honest, the NHS and secondary infertility don't go that well together, as in the fact, if you've got a child, the NHS aren't really that bothered and don't support you, basically. I don't know. I think, of course, it's also a postcode lottery where you live, but on the whole, NHS doesn't support you if you've got a child already. They're like, well, yeah, you've got a child, that's it. I was like, okay, well, then, like, fortunately, we're in the position that we could go down the private clinic route, but not everyone is in that position. So then I suppose it's just making sure that, okay, well, if that's their guidance around we can't give any additional support to people in the secondary infertility bracket, then it's okay, well, what emotional support are you going to give them? Because like, I have gone through a CBT course on the NHS probably almost over 2 years ago now, because I was really struggling, and I was like, I need some counselling or some sort of support. So yeah, kind of cost the NHS money that way by doing the course with them. So I think it's that knock-on effect of the, okay, if you say no, we can't help you at this point, okay, well, what's then going to be the knock-on effect of that? Where else actually are we going to come into the system because of the impact of not getting that support? So it's really tricky, because I know the NHS can't fund everything at all, but it's just so hard. And I've definitely heard people on forums kind of getting really annoyed at the NHS, because they say, well, if you're overweight, that's something in most cases you've caused, so therefore actually, of course, you're a lot more at high risk of lots of other illnesses. The NHS will treat all those illnesses for you, even though you've caused that. But with fertility, of course, it's not classed as an illness, but you haven't caused it, but they're not going to do anything about it. So it's just which was a really interesting thing to read, and I'm not sure if I completely agree with it, but it's just an interesting perspective to take, that around if someone's caused something, but actually you'll get treated. If someone hasn't caused something, you won't get treated.
It's a catch-22 situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god! I was going to say, as sort of the last few questions, is that how do you reflect on the whole situation? But the thing is, it's still ongoing, so it's just, I'm presuming it's just I reflect on it. Okay, end of the day, what happened? How do I feel about it? Is that how you're taking each day, or are you looking on a monthly basis, saying, okay, this happened?
Kind of day by day, but I suppose we've also got we're not going to continue this journey forever. There is sort of a cut-off. It's not a hard and fast date, but it's we know roughly when we're just going to stop, because we can't keep going like this forever. So I think it's that daily reflection, but knowing that there's an end and you're a step closer to that end. Particularly even like going down the IVF route, we've got an end with that because we've got a certain number of embryos left. And even though we've paid for another whole round, another egg collection, and then the transfers off the back of that, we're both like, we can't go through all of that again. Actually, if the current set of embryos don't work, we're going to stop, because what difference, like what thing would we do differently for another whole round? And if there's nothing that we can do differently, then we're not going to do it. There's no point, because it's going to be the same result over and over again. So I think it's definitely been easier to kind of get to an end now that we've gone down the IVF route, because it's like, okay, well, if we've gone down the IVF, we've literally tried everything that we're prepared to try. So that's it. That's the end.
What would you say to people in a similar situation? I guess it's like people I guess you would have been like to have that little bit of information told at the very beginning that this could happen, rather than be blindsided halfway down the journey.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, definitely. If someone had told me before we started trying, or even actually just after we started trying, but probably actually up to like 3 months after that first miscarriage, being like, oh yeah, this does happen. And it's more common than you think as well. If someone had just told me that, I might be a bit more warned around, okay, you're not alone. Sometimes, who knows what's happening in the human body, but it just happens. That would have definitely helped. But I think, advice to other people, I think concentrate on today. Do the things that you enjoy, and don't do things just because you think you might get pregnant, because that definitely helped when I made that shift in my mind. Even things like not wanting to apply for another job at times, because of course then you've got potentially you don't get maternity pay if you then get pregnant straight afterwards, and all of those things. I've told friends who've been in a similar situation, I'm like, ignore the trying to get pregnant bit. If you want to change jobs, if you're really unhappy in your current job, change jobs, because that's more important. And if you do get pregnant, you'll deal with it. You won't be the first, you won't be the last. Just do it, because your happiness is more important, and actually being happy potentially might help. Who knows? But I suppose it's concentrating on you and putting you first, rather than putting something that may never happen first. I think it's definitely a key piece of advice that I'd give others.
So I got one last question, and then I'm going to do like a roundup of it. So what have you learned about yourself after the last 3 years or so?
Quite a lot.
Difficult to
put
one thing.
I was going to say it's difficult to say. I think probably I've learned I can be spontaneous, which is quite a nice thing to learn. And that, I think, adventure and the physical fitness and things for me helps me emotionally, and actually that's really important. And putting yourself first and enjoying and doing what you enjoy, I feel like I've 100% learnt through this, and really appreciate and enjoy the things that you've got in your life already. I definitely feel like there was a shift at one point between like when I'm not saying I didn't enjoy my son, but I might have got more frustrated with him, and now I'm like, actually no, like he's an amazing boy, and I need to appreciate everything, whether that's him having a bit of a tantrum or what. Like, he is amazing, and I need to really appreciate him every day, no matter what he does. So I think that's definitely one thing that I've learned to do, but kind of learned about myself, that maybe I didn't appreciate everything as much beforehand, because it just all happened and it was what I was expecting and everything else. So I think it's when then something happens that you're not expecting or something you are expecting to happen doesn't happen, you're like, oh, actually, I really need to appreciate everything that I do have because I'm really lucky to have that. So yeah, I feel like I've probably become a lot more reflective as well over the last 3 years.
Fabulous. Laura, thank you for dedicating your time for today with me. I'll try my utmost best to try and express your story, to other people through a variety of means, obviously posting this story on platforms. I'm sure it'll definitely resonate with lots of people. The hardships that you're facing, the hardships you're still going through, and it also gives that emphasis that more support needs to be done, or more awareness needs to be raised, and then the support can come as a subsequent part of that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure everyone, yourself and everyone else, will agree to that this needs to be addressed sooner than later. And it has an overall impact on people's mental health, as evident by yourself. I guess it's taken a mental toll on you for the last couple of years, and it still is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.